In 1795, the Hudson's Bay Company established a major fur trading post along the North Saskatchewan River and named it Edmonton House. It would be renamed Fort Edmonton and relocated several times over the ensuing years. Then, in the shadow of the recently completed Alberta legislature, and having outlived its useful purpose, the fort was dismantled in 1914 for the last time. Between 1914 and 1966, the city of Edmonton's population would grow from 72,000 to over 381,000, and was on the eve of its 100th birthday. The Rotary Club of Edmonton was celebrating the club's 50th anniversary that same year. Longtime Rotarian Sam Dixon suggested rather passionately that the club do something to establish a memorial of Fort Edmonton. Sam's ace in the hole was well-respected businessman and Rotarian, Club President Merrill Wolfe.
It does take that person to come and say, okay, now we've got the idea, let's get it done. And the credit goes to those guys who said, let's get it built.
It wasn't about, can we get it done? It's, we're going to do it. And they did.
It was determined from the outset that the fort be as authentic and historically accurate as possible. Based on the original Mervyn Vavasour plans of 1846, construction of the new fort began using expert craftsmen. Métis from the region managed the horses. Horse and tackle were used to erect the walls. It was truly a cooperative effort. Rotary remained involved in the park for decades, donating time and money to various other projects, notably the move and restoration of the unique Henderson Round Barn and the annual Harvest Fair. Today, Fort Edmonton Park is where Edmonton's fascinating history comes to life. It offers people a unique living history experience and the opportunity to interact with storytellers, knowledgeable interpreters, and live entertainers in authentic period costume. Visitors hear the stories of the people and events from the past in the first person. They gain a deep appreciation of the fur trading era and the challenges of building a commercially and culturally vibrant city in a fun and engaging way.
The original plan, when you think back to around 1967, was a notion of recreating the old Fort Edmonton and maintaining that legacy. So the original vision was a fort. The most recent version of the master plan that we developed in 2009 was to really take Fort Edmonton in a new direction.
The new master plan lays out an ambitious path for the future of Fort Edmonton Park. The four key components of the plan include a new front entry and guest services area, expansion of the 1920s Midway attractions, expansion of the Selkirk Hotel on 1920 Street, and the jewel of the expansion, the Indigenous People's Experience. The first of the projects that visitors will notice is a new front gate and guest services area that will present a welcoming first impression. The train station will be repurposed as an interpretive space, representing the significance of the railway to Edmonton's early development. The second element of the master plan is the expansion of the Midway. Visitors will experience the carnival atmosphere of an authentic 1920s-style Midway. New attractions will include a recreation of the Green Rattler roller coaster that was at Borden Park back in the day, as well as a sideshow alley, a maze, bumper cars, and a new Ferris wheel. There will also be a review theater and cookhouse with seating for 200 to 250. The third element is the expansion of the Selkirk Hotel, which will include a facade representing the historic Windsor and Albion blocks between the existing hotel and the Capitol Theatre on 1920 Street. The hotel expansion will include a 250-person ballroom an expanded lobby, and 22 new guest rooms, maintaining the look and feel of the historic standards of the 1920s. The Indigenous Peoples Experience is the signature exhibit of the new expansion plan. It recreates the meeting place of Indigenous peoples both before and after the arrival of the first explorers. First Nations and Métis people will share their stories their way. These remarkable stories are shared through multimedia shows, skilled storytellers, and interactive experiences, all presented in a fun and engaging way.
I think it will make a very unique attraction in North America. There's nowhere I'm aware of that tells the story of our Indigenous and First Nations people the way that Fort Edmonton has the potential to do.
There's nothing like seeing the history come alive. Adding the Indigenous people's experience will add a whole other layer of that takes us back to before colonization in a very respectful way. And I think those learning opportunities, both for Edmontonians and for our guests, will be very memorable.
I think any venue that provides an opportunity for the public to learn about treaty is really helpful. There's the written text of treaty, which normally a person can access through a library and so on. But what's not understood well, I don't think, is the Indigenous side of treaty. So a venue like this, like Fort Edmonton, where it provides an opportunity for visitors to access that information, especially the Indigenous side of treaty, then I think it's really, really important and helpful.
It will be truly, I think, the first time that we will really feel like our history is being told properly, and that's really important.
I think culture is a perfect vehicle for reconciliation, and when we're talking about the expansion that we're looking at, the Indigenous people's experience, I think it's going to be another place where we can have those discussions, which are very tough discussions to be had for sure, but they can be had in a place where it's a positive experience for people, and people come away with better knowledge and really a better appreciation of each other, and that, I don't think you can put a value to that.
Let us tell our story, and everything else will fall into place because we'll understand each other, we'll work better together, we'll accomplish things faster. And I see it happening, and it is a really exciting time right now.
Well, there are two main thrusts behind the city's enthusiasm for this project. One is that the park, approaching 50 years old, needed reinvestment. But if we were going to reinvest, it also could benefit from the opportunity to grow and evolve. And so we're not only renewing the park, but we're expanding and enhancing its mandate to teach about history in a respectful way and an inclusive way. And so that's a good day when you can do both of those things.
A place like Fort Edmonton tells a story of a province that came together, different people coming together, Indigenous people, the new immigrants that came from all over the world, and build something together here. And I think it also it compels us then to continue in that tradition by ensuring that everybody's contributing to the continuation of this amazing space. And of course, it's going to take every level of government to contribute, and the government of Alberta is more than happy to do so.
This expansion of Fort Edmonton Park is definitely, there's a role for governments to play, and those governments are playing their role, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal. But this is a community-driven initiative. This is being led by volunteers of the Fort Edmonton Foundation, and they do this because they're passionate about it. And I think this is an opportunity for all of us in the capital region to engage in this effort and play our part.
Our partner, the Fort Edmonton Foundation, is the last piece of the puzzle. They have a capital campaign going to generate $11 million, which gets us there, gets it completed. And when you think about $150 million, and when you're only $10 million or $11 million away, you're so close. We're so close. We can get this done.
Over the past 50 years, many donors have generously contributed to the growth of Fort Edmonton Park. Recently, Edmonton-based Fountain Tire has stepped forward as the presenting sponsor of the Rotary Legacy Fundraising Dinners for the next 3 years.
It was very easy to be inspired on this project for us to step up with money and with our time. There are lots of organizations in Edmonton that step up and lead on projects like this. we look forward to leading, and we have great examples of other companies that have done the same. So we are inspired by them, and we feel good to, I guess, take the lead paddle this time.